Guys, setting up our test flight plan from New Orleans to Miami. Forget the roadshow for now. Say auto cargo, auto passengers. Download for the sim, download our flight plan for the aircraft, company route. We'll paste that in there. While I'm here, I'm going to go and delete that one and rename this one background. Awesome. Now that we've got the flight plan, let's head over to load up the sim. And we'll bring up our aircraft in Miami. In New Orleans. I think I was in parking 4 earlier. So we'll see what that does. Weather is going to be via active sky. It is currently 7:30 local time, I'm assuming, over there. And we'll update our fly live details while we're here as well. So we're going from KNU to KMIA. We are QJet flying under Qantas 5365. Okay, so the sim is still currently loading, so let's go do some more flight prep. So we'll go back to our flight plan and get some key information off here. So what we want is we want our company route. I'll go over here and paste it into the flight tracker. And we're climbing to 33,000 feet today. Of course, we can't load that till the sim's loaded. We're going to go into TFDI design. We have 119 passengers. And we need 6.9 ton of fuel. So I'm just fully loaded the wing tanks there. Now, we're not carrying extra fuel. We're tracking direct to Redfin. Tracking via Q100 to Remis, direct to bags, and then via the star of the Scott 5. And we'll just put a ton in each hold for now. If we base it on the Qantas 30 kilo per pax, it would be .5 ton. So 1.5 either side. Okay, so we are on the ground in New Orleans, so I'm going to send fuel and the payload to the sim. And jump back into the sim now. And we've lost video. Let me try and fix that up again. There we go. So welcome aboard. Yeah, I really need to change that background, but for now, let's go and set us up on cold and dark. Go connect our ground power unit, we'll open the door. We'll open the hold, put out the cones, and we'll put in our wheel chocks. And whoever parked this glass did a really great job. While we wait for this scenery to rebuild, let's go get some power into this aircraft. So we've got the ground power unit connected, so we'll turn on external power. And wait for everything to start up. Arm our emergency lights. We are going to, the aircraft is live with power, we are going to turn on nav lights. We are going to turn on our inertial navigation system. We turn on battery. And turn on power to the galley so everyone's got coffee. Stick shakers working. Alright, we can turn on no smoking and seatbelts. And once everything's alive, which is coming up now, we'll go do some system testing. Starting off with cargo.
Cargo smoke. Cargo smoke.
Go here, check the ground proximity warning.
Glide slope. Pull up. Terrain, terrain. Pull up. Sink rate. Pull up. Terrain. Don't sink. Don't sink. Too low, gear. Too low, flaps. Too low, terrain. Glide slope. Bank angle, bank angle. Too low, terrain. Caution, terrain. Terrain, terrain. Pull up.
Okay, put that back to normal and regard it. Now going down to the weather radar.
Monitor radar display. Go around. Wind shear ahead. Wind shear ahead. Wind shear ahead.
And weather radar is fine. Alright, so now I'm going to bring the APU online. Get some start pressure. Open up some fuel. And we go over to the APU master, run, start. Monitor and start progress. So 50–60%. Rising. Okay, APU is at 100% speed, so go up here, see APU is on, so we'll convert over to aircraft power now, disconnect the ground power. Go back to our trusty tablet and signal to disconnect the ground power. Now we'll jump back into our seat and we start our planning. So first of all, checking the nav data date is in range. And we're flying today from New Orleans lakefront, so we're going Kilo November Echo Whiskey to Miami, Kilo Mike India Alpha 01. And it's not the Delta base. I swear I put it in there. There's my problem. KD to Kilo Mike India Alpha 01. Okay, so we have cost index 57, so if we go back to our flight plan, see here we have a cost index of 57, so all is well and good there. Coming back into the sim now. We're going to initialize the initial reference system. And our alternate, if I go back to the flight plan today, is Orlando, Kilo, Mike, Charlie, Oscar. So Kilo, Mike, Charlie, Oscar. It's going to alternate. Now we know there's no flight plan yet because that's not planned. We are going to be QJet for Qantas Link today, but we are flying as Qantas. 5365. We're going to flight level 330 or 33,000. Now our total fuel from our flight plan today is 6.9 tonne. Now go back into our trusty tablet, click on settings, see our gross weight here is 50.9 tonne, our zero fuel weight is 39.8, so if we go 39.8, pop in here as zero fuel weight, everything else auto-populate for us. We're going to burn 500 kilograms of fuel on taxi. Our total centre of gravity is 25.7. Had issues with this, so it may not work. No, it did. Or is that our zero fuel weight? I've got to confirm that info. We're carrying extra time. So we're going to assume today our current temperature is 26 degrees. So we're going to assume an outside temperature of 50 degrees to derate the engines so that we're not going to overkill them and overpower them on takeoff. Let's grab our ATIS. Give our airport information.
Airport information in Quebec. 19er breaching.
So we're 120 at 8. So going, chances are going off.
Greater than 20 miles. Sky conditions clear.
Let's go have a look at the maps.
1019er ILS. Runway 18 right and
Before
visual.
we do
Runway
that, let's
18 left in view.
get off the ATIS. Let's go have a look at the charts. So we've been new flight today from Simbrief. So the same departing from runway 18. So 18, that's almost 60. It's probably only looking at 2 to 3 knots of headwind. So I'm going to say slope 0 with a headwind of 2. Set outside air temperature was 26 degrees Celsius. I'm going to take off with flap 13. That's giving us our V1 speed of 130, rotate speed of 132, safety speed of 137. Now we're going to get everyone on board. People. I'm going to fly this manually. I'm not going to put in a fly the sim flight.
GCAS test pass.
Now let's program our departures. So we go into a flight plan, go to Kilo View, then we said we were going direct. And it was going to be a runway 18 high departure. Go inside that. Clear our discontinuity and go program our arrival, which is normally done in the air, but to save a bit of time, we'll do it now. And we said our arrival is going to be Scott 5. With a bags transition. And from our charts, it's going to be a expecting runway 9. But I'm going to go shoot an ILS into 9 right. It's ILS 8 right. I'm going to go insert that into our flight plan. While that's happening, see our pilots are moving now. We have a bus fuel truck, but let's forget that one for now. And over here on the other side we have our ground agents waiting for bags. So go up here now, go into our plan view. Decrease our range. So it's saying we've got to discontinue from us in because we're going to go back to Prepar. So what I'm going to do here is delete set. Oops, did that wrong. Opera. A-O-P-R-A. That's what we want. So we're going to delete Opera. Go back in the wallet. Go see Opera. Of course, this comment did it again. COPRA. Where's this mine? Places. And if we keep going down our plan here, take this all the way through. So go back to our takeoff data. This is a forward jump, which you can see as you're on the graph charts. Now, takeoff decision speed is 130 knots. Rotate speed 132.7. Have an engine failure, engine fire. Really have an issue that would be unsafe flight below 130. Stop on the runway. Anything beyond 130, get the aircraft into the air, decisions appear. So we'll put our V2 137. Grace, if you're still on, is that any better?
Hello. Thank you. I'm right next to her. Thank you.
Awesome. Apart from that now, not much to do until everyone's on board. Looks like our bag's already on board. So go and close the hold. It's a good question there, Gracie. So we are currently on the ground at Lakeview Airport in New Orleans, heading to Miami in Florida. Emergency power is now armed. Okay, we have all passengers on board, so we are giving the cabin crew permission to close the doors. And our ground crew remove the cones and the wheel chocks. Get rid of all our ground equipment. And we can go and start this beast. So starting engine 1 starter open, waiting for airflow and fuel pressure. And now she doesn't want to start because I have no air into the engines from the APU. Start the process again. Okay, here we go. So air into the engine now. We're spooling up to looking for 20% of the N2. And then we'll introduce fuel, 17, 18, 19. There's 20%. We'll introduce fuel into the engine. Watching the TGT. Let's not go up into the red. And one thing I did do was turn on our beacon lights to let others around the aircraft know that we were starting. Such a very poor start so far. Okay, so we should have starter cutout, which we have. The engine is stabilizing. Go and start number 2. Again, same thing this time, watching for 20% of N2. And I'm going to introduce fuel into the engine. Again, watching the total gas turbine, or total gas temperature, making sure it doesn't exceed up into the red. And it's wanting fuel into the center. Okay, with that click indicating we have further starter cutout. So start pumps are coming off, APU air is coming off, APU master is no longer needed, so APU power is coming off as the engines are now supplying power. Hydraulic systems are coming on. Windshield ice is on, and we can go and request our taxi. And we're departing to the east. So do a VFR departure. we'll clear around. We're going to go release brakes and edge forward, make sure we clear the citation. So there's 36 left, which is the reciprocal of 18 right. There are some. So while we taxi out. Let's go get ourselves ready for takeoff. So we are going for flap 13. Control check, full left, full right. Full left, right, full left. And just forget the scenery issue there. Elevator full up and full down. Tire pressure, temperatures are looking good. So we'll go back into the engine page now for takeoff. And we'll go back into our page. So we're going to turn traffic awareness on. We're going to go flight plan data on. And because we've got no weather around us at the moment, we'll also go terrain. Gracie, don't start that again. This is gradual engine inputs. Okay, so just recapping our takeoff speed. So our safety speed of V1 is 130 knots, so engine failure, engine fire, or anything deemed unsafe for flight below 130 knots will come to a complete stop on the runway. Notify ATC of our intentions and then proceed. Anything beyond 130 knots will get the aircraft into the air, maintain minimum of 130 knots for V2, assess what's happening and get the aircraft back on the ground. And one final check of our configurations. Our IRS is aligned. All our required systems are set. So it'll be a straight out departure, left turn after takeoff on climb to flight level 330. So now we're ready, we'll request our VFR takeoff clearance. There's our clearance to take off, okay. Landing lights all go on. We acknowledge our clearance. Double check nothing's coming in on final, nothing on the runway. Engine stabilized, increase power. Takeoff power set. Airspeed live. Command starts in line. 80 knots, cross-checked. V1, hands off the throttle, rotate. Positive rate. Gear up.
Stall. Stabilizer motion.
Start our turn.
Stabilizer motion.
So stabilizer motion is just the aircraft trimming itself to maintain correct angle, correct speed.
Stabilizer motion. Stabilizer motion.
And set our speed to maintain 250 knots below 10,000 feet. I know this isn't real world procedures, but hey, it's something. Okay, 180 knots, flat 1. And slats retracted. Going to acknowledge 12385, Qantas 5365.
Stabilizer motion.
And I suppose we better get some air into the cabin too. Five thousand feet is not too bad. You still breathe quite easily below 10,000 feet. Okay, so we are above 10,000 feet. Going back into flight management system controlled speed. So the nose will lower, we'll get at the speed and continue our climb to 33,000. Okay, so we're above 10,000, we turn off the seatbelt sign. Good afternoon from the flight deck. This is Captain speaking. We've turned off the fasten seatbelt sign. You're now free to get up and move about the cabin. However, if you are in your seats, we'd like to ask you to keep your seatbelt securely fastened at all times. For the moment, we're expecting smooth sailing. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight. So coming up on Redfin in about 5 minutes, so begin a gradual left turn and continue our climb. Anyway, while that's happening, let's go and review our charts. So as you can see, we're approaching Redfin now. We'll start tracking towards Nate. Then Rosie, Remus, and then over to Bags, where we begin our arrival into Miami. So as you saw earlier, we've deleted this part of the leg here. So we'll begin our turn into Miami and land straight into a right. So if we bring up the chart, we have an ILS frequency of 110.3 with a runway heading of 092 degrees with an final approach fix of 1,500 feet and an initial approach of 3,000 feet with a visibility of 442 feet. If we don't hit 442 and don't see ground, then we go into our missed approach. So we can start setting that one up. So bring up our flight management system. We'll go into NavFix. We said our frequency was 110.3 with a runway heading of 092. Now, as the ILS is now programmed, we will see no glide slope, no localizer at this stage, because we are well and truly too far for the navigation systems to pick it up. So we're estimating a flight 40 arrival with a approach speed of 143 knots and a touchdown speed of 139. Airport elevation is 9 feet. And we have a runway length of 10,506 feet, roughly 3 kilometers. Here we are tracking to Redfin. Across, we're getting a slow left turn now to intercept the truck to Nate. Coming up on flight level 280 now. 28,500. If we just zoom in on the navigational display here, we're expecting to be at Nate at flight level 330. Checking all the engine settings now. So both engines are maintaining approximately 1.57 and ones are both approximately 89.7% climb power, with a total gas turbine temperature of 580 degrees per side. Checking our hydraulics page. Hydraulic pressure and fluid is fine. Across to fuel. We can see that our main wing tanks are still pretty full, with about 4 tonne of fuel, and our centre tank is slowly depleting with 1.1 tonne of fuel, with total usable fuel currently at 9.5 tonne. Check our status page, nothing is there. The configuration should now show us that we are wheels up, and the aircraft is clean, no flaps, no aileron or rudder trim.
Altitude.
So that's now indicating we are currently 32,700, approaching our cruise altitude of 33,000 feet. Daniele, welcome if you're still on the stream. We are currently en route from New Orleans to Miami. Currently maintaining ground speed of 480 knots and 33,000. Some new features checking. Not flying, well, flying real time as in 1-to-1, not, haven't sped up the speed. Currently about halfway through the flight, so we've probably got another hour or so to go. And nice clear sailing as well at this point. How's your study going today, Daniele? What do I do while I wait? Well, pretty much just monitor the aircraft, check all the systems, make sure there's no failures. If there are failures, manage them as they come up. Toy with the passengers and annoy them, and do things like this where I go up here and turn on the seatbelt sign. Good afternoon from the flight deck, ladies and gentlemen. This is Captain speaking. I've turned on the fasten seatbelt sign. Get back to your seats now and make sure your seatbelt is securely fastened. Thank you. I'm sure you wouldn't take practice. If you ever did get into the simming, hit me up and I can give you the basics so you don't kill everyone. That'll be nice. I'll turn the seatbelt sign back off. And good afternoon from the flight again, ladies and gentlemen. I've turned off the fasten seatbelt sign. You're now free to get up and move about the cabin. However, any time you are seated, we ask that you please keep your seatbelt securely fastened at all times. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight. Now, unfortunately, because we're going into Miami, it means we don't get to see Disney World and Orlando. Or hold on for dear life, right, Gracie? While airborne, you can't see them. However, with the add-ons with Prepar3d and what's it called, GSX, there is a whole boarding sequence where you can actually see them board. Now let's see if we can see him. We got aircraft 2,100 feet above us within 40 nautical mile. Just outside 20, so we may not see him. Not quite. So we'll keep an eye on him. He's going right to left, so we may not see him at all. There are add-ons which do manage the whole customer service side of things as well, Daniele. I just haven't seen the need or had the money to fork out for it as yet. Oh yeah, didn't tell you. Welcome, Gracie. Yeah, she found out that I was having a hard time maintaining proper procedure and chatting at the same time, so departed out of New Orleans with the pressurization system turned off and the lighting configuration not set to alert people that the aircraft was being started up. But trial and error, as you well know. Let's see if I can bring it up. Let's TFDI. So if we go, so it's Pack X, which basically gives you automated announcements, simulates passengers who will react and judge events throughout the flight. Business traveler may be more affected by delays than passengers going on vacation, so you delay the flight, they'll give you a low score and a low rating, whereas passengers on vacation, if they don't have a connection, well, hey. I'm tongue-tied now. In Simhats, and yeah, with looks like it also gives you real public address access. So I'm just going to go and mute the sim for a minute.
Of an emergency and we need to evacuate the aircraft, there is lighting on the floor that will guide you towards the exit. Then you event drop right in front of you. Start the flow of oxygen, pull the mask towards you. Place it firmly over your nose and mouth and secure the elastic band behind your head. The flight crew has turned off the fastest seatbelt sign. You can now get up and move about the cabin. However, we ask that you keep your seatbelt fastened when needed in case of unexpected turbulence. We have begun our final descent into your destination. Flight attendants will be passing through the cabin to collect any trash one final time.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 5.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached our destination. The local time is 1:28 p.m. and it's currently about 63 degrees Fahrenheit. You can now use your mobile devices. Please remain seated until the aircraft has come to a complete stop and the seatbelt sign is turned off. Remember to use caution when opening the overhead bins as items may have shifted during the flight. One of the passengers isn't feeling well. It's probably best to
So there we
try to
go,
help
also
as soon
simulates
as
medical
possible.
emergencies.
How do you want to handle it? Not a problem. Attention, ladies and gentlemen, a passenger aboard the aircraft requires medical attention. If there are any medical personnel on board, please press your flight attendant call button. about 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Welcome aboard flight 2305 with service to London Heathrow. We have begun our final descent into Toronto. We're still boarding. Let us know if you need anything. We'll see what we can do. No promises. We're still boarding. Let us know if you need anything.
And now it's not going to give us the sim again, is it? Oh, there we go. Going to make it visible. So yeah, some really cool features in it. The aircraft themselves range from very basic, like your 2 4-seaters, even the basic jets, just set and forget. But the stuff that I use, such as the 717 here, made by the same people as that add-on to the 737, 747, and the 787 are more what's referred to as study level. So they pretty much replicate the aircraft systems right down to each of the screens in the flight management system, the vertical navigation profile, aircraft systems, so each individual system can fail rather than just the engines, for instance. So if I wanted to, I could look at doing a real life scenario that I have seen Qantas captains go through, where on their 747 check ride they had an engine failure on top of a rapid depressurization and a hydraulic failure at the same time. So just not game to set that up myself in the sim. Danielle, it's you, of course. We don't mind you. It can be complicated, but as I said, the basic stuff for those who aren't in the industry that just want to get up and fly is fairly straightforward. You start, you take off, you fly around, you land. So let's check our progress. So Remy at 246, we're estimating bags at 2102 local. So that's another 10 minutes. Then Barry 2108. Then after Barry, we start our descent. So probably a good 15-20 minutes before we start descending. That's exactly right. I cannot play the keyboard for the life of me. Last time I physically played the keyboard, I was in grade 3. And yeah, just starting to get my head around the notes again and the lights on Gracie's keyboard to play the automated built-in songs. Alright, so let's zoom out this ND. Okay, we can see our top of descent on the graph now, just after Barry. It's estimating probably about a 2,000 feet a minute descent. That'll make it about a 15-minute descent, the approach. So probably looking at being on the ground at about, what are we looking at, about 4:30 local time here, I reckon. And that's been good flying across from Tucson, Arizona this morning with a good 50-60 knot tailwind, so it shaved quite a bit of time off the flight. This is a flight that Q Virtual have, or Qantas Virtual have set up to commemorate the events of Amelia Earhart's life and goals and ambitions. So it's trying to follow some of her flights as close as possible. So starting to see the coastline of Florida now, which is good. We do have an aircraft that's 80 nautical. So he's still outside 40, so we won't see him at all. Do we have him this way though? No, we have a lot of them. Okay, so we've depleted fuel in our center fuel tank. Well, we got 5 kilograms left, so that's close enough for me. Center fuel pump's coming off. And just looking at our fuel system, we still have 4.2 tonne in each tank, total usable fuel of 8.4 tonne. So plenty of fuel to get us there. That's a good question. Let me go have a look before we start our descent. Where are we? Tours. American Aviator. So looking at the event, it looks like it does, Gracie. So we come down, we're going west to east here. So we come down, at the moment we're going across the US. So in Miami, we then go down over Cuba, the Bahamas, down over South America, into Brazil. Then we shoot across to Africa, cut across Central Africa, going up into Yemen, Oman, across India, Bangladesh, down into Thailand, down over Indonesia, then into Darwin. Then from Darwin we go up over Papua New Guinea, and then across the Pacific. But unfortunately, not sure if it actually goes. Yes, it does go to Hawaii. It's actually going into, believe it or not, good old Waikiki. So yes, Gracie, you will get to see a rainbow tower. And the good old Hawaiian Hilton, bring back some good memories from while we were there. From there, it'll take us out over, it'll take us away from the Big Island, and eventually back up into San Francisco and Oakland, where we departed from. Your chemtrails? You want to see your chemtrails, huh? Not that they're a real thing, but let's go this way. There you go. There is your chemtrail, which is only ice. But I do like the Discover Tasmania livery for Qantas Link 717. So seemings we are within, just outside 40 mile. I'm going to go set up for the approach. So I'm going back to my charts. Going to the approach plate here. So the initial descent is down to 3,000 feet with a decision height of 440 feet. So decision height, go barometer. Down to 440 feet. Gonna get the descent set up. Good afternoon again from the flight deck, ladies and gentlemen. This is the captain speaking. We are approaching our top of descent, and I will shortly be turning the seatbelt sign back on. If you are currently up and about the cabin, please use this time to gather anything you may need during the descent, and then swiftly please return to your seat and secure your seatbelt low and tight across the hips. Cabin crew will be coming through the cabin one last time just to prepare the cabin for arrival and collect any rubbish that you may have. Again, on behalf of Qantas, we'd like to thank you for travelling with us today and wish you a pleasant journey. And again, you can see I forgot to switch back. But all I was doing there was setting our decision altitude, which will give me an oral alert approaching 440 feet. That will let me know if I can't see the ground, I need to discontinue the approach. I've just made, as you heard, made the PA call. Seatbelt sign can go on because we are approaching. APU can remain off now until we are on the ground. Reviewing our approach speeds. So we are expecting a flap 40 arrival, so full flap. Approach speed of 141 knots, touching down at 137 knots. Our flight plan is the Scott 5 arrival, so we're tracking from Bags to Barry to Charlie Yankee Yankee VOR to Deeds to Scott. From Scott to Roubeau to Wallop, Copra, Lawn, and then shooting the ILS into runway 8 right approach. So just confirming, we have a airfield elevation of 9 feet. We have a runway length of 10,500 feet, which is roughly 3K or 3.3K. And our flap speeds are fine. Going back into our engine page now just to monitor temps and pressures while we are on approach. Arming the speed brake. Now I'm going to go over into Discord. Q virtual weather bot, where are you? The one that says weatherbot, that would be a start. Alright, so we are looking for $WX Kilo Mike India Alpha. Let's try that again. $WX, not EX. Kilo Mike India Alpha. Okay, so Miami information. We're looking at few clouds, 3,400 feet, visibility greater than 16 kilometers. Current temperature in Miami is a balmy 22 degrees. Sorry, dew point is 22 degrees Celsius with a balmy temperature of 26 degrees. Winds from the far northeast at 4 knots, so not much wind there at all. So if it's coming in for, we're landing on 08, so roughly 080 degrees. It's 40, so we're looking probably a headwind of half that, so about 2 knot headwind. So runway selected is definitely the appropriate one. And here we are approaching top of descent. It's going to hit profile.
Altitude.
So we have a couple of aircraft well below us, so that's fine.
Traffic, 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 traffic.
So if traffic approaching us head on, we're descending. He is
Climb.
descending as well, but we'll go around him. Autopilot disengaged.
Autopilot.
RTCAS has told us to
Autopilot.
climb.
Autopilot. Autopilot. Autopilot.
He is passing now to the right of us, clear of conflict.
Climb.
And that is how you avoid other traffic that coming at you head on. So by rules of the air, you pass other aircraft on the right-hand side, so that's why I moved off to the left. The traffic collision avoidance system did tell me to climb. So TCAS will communicate between aircraft in real life and work together to avoid the conflict. So it'll tell one flight crew in one aircraft to climb, it'll tell the other flight crew to descend. And TCAS has saved so many lives and so many accidents. So we're getting back on our descent profile now, so I'm going to put the speed brakes away. Rearm the speed brakes. And now down to 26,000 feet, so it is now too warm for our contrail to form, so contrail has disappeared. Our moon is rising. And aircraft is still currently trucking the arrival. Always love the view from the ground is so zoomed in. Let's go back to 1x zoom. That looks a lot better, but still shouldn't be seeing the full aircraft. We get a view from the back of the plane of the Florida coastline. So as we get closer on the arrival, I expect to see the no glide slope flag disappear, the no localizer disappear, and the bugs should appear there. We're still well above 10,000 feet, so speed can remain above 250 knots for now. There's a bit of cloud in the area, so I am going to leave the weather radar on. However, there doesn't seem to be any precipitation in the clouds, so we're not getting any radar returns at this point. I'm using a weather generator which pulls in real world weather into the sim. I am also using active sky cloud art, so it just gives the clouds in the sim a more natural look and feel. And the scenery below is Orbex's global, so nothing spectacular. It's just essentially photoreal scenery. I don't have anything but the stock standard airport in the sim at the moment because I don't fly there every day, whereas Melbourne I have the Australian airports I have most external add-in airports which give them more of a real life feel and real life look. How's your raid going, Gracie? Assuming you are raiding. And assuming you're still online too, of course. Okay, so approaching 10,000 feet now, so I'm going to start winding back the speed. Let's go 240 knots, give us a 10 knot buffer as our throttles are at flight idle. Bring out our speed brakes, just help slow us down. There's 250, speed brakes going away and rearmed. Seatbelt signs are on, no smoking sign is on, and our windshield heat is on. I know, right? Now, all good, Daniele, all good, mate. And Gracie, we know you like to lurk. Gonna deploy the slats. Well, not to be fast, not be that fast in the real thing, but start slowing us down for the arrival now. So we're approaching Roubaix. Then we start heading over to Wallet. So may as well start the auxiliary power unit on the approach so I don't forget to do it on the ground. So So fuel is on, I'm going to hit start pump, master for the APU is on and start, going down to engine instruments and wait for it to kick in. So RPM in the auxiliary power unit is increasing, so it's essentially a third turbine in the tail, providing auxiliary power to the aircraft in the event of an engine failure, and also helps with the start of the engines on the ground by providing bleed ahead to the engines to start spinning them. Okay, APU is at 100%. Turning on APU power supply. Start pump off. Currently down now to about 7,500 feet, going down to 3,000. The aircraft has picked up the localizer, showing we are left at the moment, so once we pass the wall we can turn right and we'll intercept that. As we get a bit closer, we should get the glide slope picked up as well. So Wallapop starts slowing us down even further. Start setting up further for the approach. Nice stuff we can't see through, but we're going through it anyway. We've got traffic-wise, a lot of traffic. So we've obviously passed Wallet now, so reducing the speed to 200 knots. Dropping back to 190 as we are approaching further. Okay, flap 0 to 10 degrees below 280 knots, so extending 240 knots for 11 to 20, so we are at 13 now, so that's perfect. Drag required, well yeah, we've just put flap out, that's why it's going to work. Flap greater than 20 degrees. It's below 220 knots, so we are below. gonna try and sneak in ahead of us. I bet you are. So because of that, I'm going to start slowing us down to our approach speed. What do we say that was going to be? It was going to be 141 knots. We're going to go gear down. 1, 2, 3 green. Flap 25. Flap 45. Flap 40. Arm the approach. Gonna set our final approach fix. Okay, so the aircraft has captured the localizer, captured the glide slope. Our missed approach altitude for this arrival is going to be climb to 3000, so reset altitude to 3. You're going into the other runway, so that's fine. Let's contact the tower. Maybe approach this maybe first. Real life would be the tower.
Stabilizer motion.
So Miami International, we're going to tower. We are going to request full stop. That's 565, 9 miles west with Victor to land. Make straight in 8 right, which is what we are. QNH 1018. is set. And we are going to acknowledge. Nose light can go on, landing lights will go on when we have clearance to land. Now fully committed for landing. Gear is down, flap is down, spoilers are armed.
Cleared to land, runway 8 right. Miami Tower, check jet, 594 ready to go. Runway
Cleared to land 8 right, Qantas 5365. Landing lights can go on. And they have indeed gone on, yes they have. So we are perfectly on profile, maintaining glide path, maintaining localizer, maintaining 141, 142 knots.
$1,000.
Sterile cockpit.
Approaching minimums. 500. Minimums.
Landing.
400. 300,
Auto thrusters engaged.
200, 100, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10,
Throttle startle.
5.
Maintain center line. Bit rough. Thrust reversers deployed. 100 knots. Knots. $60 knots reverses away. Manual braking. Vacating runway, landing lights can go off.
125.365, contact ground on 121.8. Check jet 594, clear for takeoff. Runway 8 right, service wind 047 at 4.
Edit voice type limit. Fire license from editvoicetype.com.
Spoilers away, flaps up.
Cleared for takeoff. Runway 8 right, check jet 594.
Now I'm going to acknowledge ground. Request taxi to the gate. Wait for them to tell me where I'm going. We're going to Hotel 17, so because I don't know the airport, I am going to go Hotel Gate 17, request to follow me vehicle, acknowledge ground, and because American Airlines is a One World partner, I will use them. Gracie, don't go down there. You know taxiway center lines do not have a track. And I'm gonna cheat here. Which way is it gonna? It's gonna make me go to the right. All right. Could bring up the airport charts, but thought it'd be a bit more fun to have the follow me vehicle come in. APU is on, so I don't need to start that one. The American Airlines depart heading out in front of us. Well, look at it. There's the Citation Bronwyn on the right side. There's the follow me vehicle ahead of us. Yes, yes, I know it is. I wouldn't quite say smooth, Danielle. It was a little bit rough. I do try and get below 50 feet a minute on touchdown if I can. Now let me follow this guy. He'll take us into the parking bay. And while we're at it, so we don't blast him with radiation, we'll turn off the weather radar. And we'll turn off the transponder. So now we're invisible to air traffic control as well.
TCAS test pass.
Although Miami probably required to have your transponder on the ground anyway. In case they do have ground radar. And we're going left here. To the right. So that's the American terminal in front of us there. ladies and gentlemen. It's currently 37 minutes past the hour. Current temperature is 26 degrees Celsius. If you are leaving us here, we hope you've enjoyed your trip. If you are connecting with another flight, please check the information monitors inside the terminal or seek assistance from gate agents. We hope you've enjoyed your flight with us today and wish you a pleasant journey.
Miami, ground, American 1635, with X-ray, ready to taxi IFR. American 1635, taxi 2 and hold short of runway 8, flight using taxiway November 13, November, Papa, Mike 1, contact tower on 123.9er with ready. Taxi, hold short, runway 8, right, using taxiway November 13, November, Papa, Mike 1, American 1635. Miami, ground, Southwest 2, 89er3, with X-ray, ready to taxi IFR. Southwest 2, 89er3, taxi 2 and hold short of runway 8, flight using taxiway November 13, November, Papa, Mike 1, contact tower
Turning
on
left on Prepar.
Taxi, hold short, runway 8, flight via taxiway November 13, November, Papa, Mike 1.
Don't see ground equipment yet.
Miami ground, American 68 heavy with X-ray, ready to taxi IFR. American 68 heavy, taxi 2 and hold short of runway 9er using taxiway Tango, Sierra. Contact tower on 118.3 with ready.
Yes, Gracie, they do use Fahrenheit. However, I'm finding that most of the world at the moment is converting to metric in the aviation industry. A lot of the weather used at the airports for LA, at least for the aviation side of things, in the US I should say, seem to be converting to metric. However, for the locals and the passengers, it is still Fahrenheit. Places like Russia are a whole different matter, a whole different ballgame altogether. They're using meters, not feet, and same with China as well. So that's a whole different ballgame, and having to convert your altitudes to meters from feet, which is quite simple. You only divide it by 3.3. That'll give you your meters reference. So 33,000 feet would be a 10,000 meter. Welcome. So we've got a American 777 just off our right. Looks like we've got another 777 parked on our left here. Oh, and a retro 737. Turning left onto Quebec. And there is a marshal at the gate, but I am not going to follow them, purely because they get me to stop too far and then the bridge won't connect to the aircraft. And it's interesting, I'm doing a domestic flight and it's brought me in at an international terminal, but hey, we are technically an international airline in the US. And we'll park next to this A320. Okay, follow me, get out of the way. Little bit too early. Nice one. Just drive through the baggage cars. Follow me. Slow it down. Stop the nose wheel on the line. Okay, park brake engaged. We have APU power. We have been taxiing for more than 3 minutes. Okay, right engine, fuel shut off, running down. Number 1, fuel shut off, running down. Flaps are stowed. Speed brake is stowed. N1 percentage is less than 20%. Beacon light going off.
Miami ground, American 140.
We can request our jetway.
1400, taxi to Date Hotel 20.
We can request deboarding.
Taxiing to Gate Hotel 20. Taxi, Echo 3, Echo Papa. American 140.
So once our jetway is connected, we'll go ahead and open the passenger door. While that's happening, we can go and open our baggage holds and wait for the ramps to be connected.
Miami ground, Copa 3.
Okay, so the jetway is connected now.
IFR.
So we will go ahead and open the passenger door.
Runway 8 flight using taxiway November 13 November, Papa, Mike 1. Contact tower on 123.9er point ready.
Taxi to and hold short runway 8 right.
What was our passenger count after that?
Papa, Mike 1.
We had 119.
Miami ground, Wayne 10. Request taxi.
So for Daniele's sake, if you're around, I will go custom. No, you won't even give me the jetway. Ah. So in some instances, you would actually see the passengers disembark. If I go up here, you may see them walk off the plane. But you also get the joys of seeing the baggage handlers throw the bags. And there you go, passengers are disembarking. Why did I just close the door on them? So you see them there slowly walking off the plane up the jet bridge. Well, we'll get this plane emptied, get it squared away for the night, and pick up on the next sector. Thank you for joining us today, and